Hello, everybody, and welcome to another RCT2 review. We continue our head-to-head 9 reviews with round 7, match number 2, featuring the Scream Queens versus the Serial Killers. This is a do-or-die match for the Scream Queens. They are up against our team, Logan's Run, for the final spot in the playoffs. So, let's take a look at what they put together. This is a pretty cool map. This was 85% by Recurious, 5% by Jappy, 5% by Camcorder 22, and 5% by Phoenix Wing 101. Cool premise here. It's 6 different kind of floating of some level islands that you can see are big heads. So it's kind of an interesting thing. Each head represents one of the teams, and they're kind of in various stages of, I guess, struggle in some cases, you could say. So let's take a look at what we've got. It's a pretty cool construction for the heads. Relatively blocky, but done in kind of this sort of smooth, layered way. So it's not like in your face that it's sculpted like a head. It definitely feels sort of like a big rock mass that kind of resembles a head, which I think is a pretty nice way to do it. The scale sort of, or I guess the isometric in this case, sort of messes with your head a little bit with viewing. Like this section, for example, is actually set way down in there, as far as on top of this rock outcropping. So it's a little bit kind of funny to remove some of the sections with cutaway view and kind of see where everything sits. So we've got a couple of different bits and pieces here. So let's start with this one. So this one, we have our Kraken right here as we kind of work our way up to some of the stuff up above Kraken Bar, which I think is a pretty cool homage to the Pirates arc that we saw earlier in the year. So this is the Manual Laborer's head. And up top, we've got some of the cool features. Here's the Sky Paris from Coeur de Ciel. And here we've got the little infected going on in the back here from the Cosmic Infection map. And then here's our Swinger right here as well. And nice little architecture too, sort of Asian inspired. All of the architecture throughout here has this sort of Asian feel to it, but different colors and different textures kind of throughout, which I do like. Again, seeing the use of those awnings from tile inspectors and some of those other little bits and pieces that have kind of become ubiquitous now throughout. Here we've got this Western Division lift, so this kind of clearly calling out these as the Western Division teams, I suppose. So nice little way to do this lift at an angle like that. Cool way to go in between the two. All right, so let's jump over to the next house where we've got the Villa Black Sky Cycles. So this is the tile inspectors over here. We've got a couple of cool things here. I like this conservatory roof going on here with the glass and everything. And we have a bunch of frozen staff in here. Here's Kumba. And actually, if you go through the entire space here, you're going to see a lot of different frozen staff with either some inside jokes to the various parts and pieces, or just kind of here within the map itself. So a lot of cool textural work in here. I do like the colors and the way that each of the different areas sort of plays off the gray around it, so it kind of highlights the space as a whole. And the landscaping is kind of nice with all the greenery kind of coming out of the sides. It's done pretty well. You've got cable cars crossing over to the next head here, and then down below you've got a train station which moves from one side of the map to the other, with some kind of nice arches over here and some beams and stuff on this side. This is the Serial Killers head. Right here we've got the Mama Maria's here going to the races, so Day at the Races reference right there with the plane. And then up above we've got a couple other things here, like Cereal Bowl Bash, which is clever. The little cornflakes or corn pops or whatever it is here in the milk. And just very kind of clean lines through all this. Some pretty nice pandas, as you might expect from Asian stuff, and Just a lot of nice little things. Here's another reference with the RWE farming of tomatoes. So we have that tomato park that we saw earlier in the season as well. There's a scrambler and some more of the frozen staff. All right, so continuing to the next one, we've got this pretty neat spiral walkway all the way down to the next section here, which is a little more built up than the other ones. So this is a big, nice spinning coaster kind of throughout the whole thing. Check this out without the scenery here. So we've got this little S-bend up top dropping down into a little more of a layout kind of through the rest of it, which is pretty cool through the whole thing. So this is the Adventurers Club right here, and a little water sluice going between the two also. This one has this great waterfall here at the end, dropping down on the side. And that motif with the spiral staircase or ramp, I guess, is going to continue across and over to this one here, which is the Scream Queens one. This is a pretty harrowing walkway, I think. I'd be a little bit freaked out, I think, to walk across this thing, but it's actually really cool. I love the structure with it. This sort of tall, pole with the highly angled supports and stuff. I kind of love to see this in sort of a fantasy treehouse type setting. I think that could be really fun. It's a nice looking way to get down a pretty substantial amount of height without having to do switchback stairs and things like that. That can sometimes look a little funky. We've got two big rides on the Scream Queen's head. So first is Takishi, this log flume, hiding some of the fun stuff, like this big drop here at the end, which is kind of a shame to hide all of that. But there is a lot of cool stuff to see. Here's a little planes over tarot cars, which references the Esoterra and the Races match. So a little diagonal drop here, which is pretty cool. There we go. Coming down and then through this curve, which is a nice way to do it. It's a shame that we can't get the water on the diagonal like that, but this set of waterfalls here is pretty nice through the whole thing. And then this big coaster going through, we got a nice big drop here, a big hill through this Ultra Twister track that says Lost World Skeleton, so referencing the Lost World from Adventurers Club. Going through the whole thing, and we have this nice sort of pretzel loop, Norwegian loop thing going on here, and a roll right through the middle of it, which is a pretty clever way to do that. The coaster sort of goes on its own. I'd almost have liked to see it interact with a little bit more stuff, but it is nice in its own right, and the supports are very good and look nice through the whole thing. We turn around, and we've got a pretty nice station for that too. I do like this sort of architecture with the diagonals and everything. And then we have our head over here. Naturally, since the Scream Queens are competing against us, we are sunken halfway down into the ground, so having a little bit of trouble here as Logan's run. So here's our beer spilling out from the brewery map that we had done. Here's Mr. Brightside cleaning up that spill. Here, with using the cotton candy head, which I think is clever, is the skeleton reference to the Good Death Park, and we have the name of the cotton candy is The Bottom Fell Off, kind of referencing that there wasn't really a bottom section to our skeleton there. So lots of fun little clickable things throughout, and I didn't click on all of them, so you can go explore more if you want to find the sort of internal bits and pieces. But a cool map, definitely an ambitious one to do all this sculpting and everything here. Maybe not quite as refined as far as rock work goes as some of the other parks, but definitely a good style that stuck with it the whole way through. It's consistent, which is better than anything else, is consistency. So well done to the team here. And let's jump over to the next one. So this is Serial Killers. This is Rajasthan. This one was 55% by Andrew, who was a replacement coming in, and 40% by Liam, and 5% by Ultra. And this is a pretty cool map. So we've got this Indian type theming throughout, which is not something you see super often. It generally goes more Arab than Indian, but there's a lot of really nice architecture in this map, and just the colors in general I'm a huge fan of. So let's start kind of with some of the larger elements here. This river coming through, using the kind of cobblestone tile sides here as this sort of riverbed, so you can see the river is low and it's exposing a lot of the embankments. So the flamingos are in here, and we have some trash and overgrowth and bits and pieces, which just really pretty for one, and it's very naturalistic. I think we can kind of look back and look at Josh among others for really starting this trend of super textural landscape and everything. So definitely done very well here, and looks good. Got a collection of bizarre huts here on the side. Again, the tile inspectors really becoming ubiquitous with these awnings and with the booths. Here's a nice little spinner ride. Here's two sets of miniature golf courses. One with the sort of kind of wheat growth and everything like this, and then this one on the side, which looks like maybe some fruit trees perhaps, and some other stuff. I really love this little building. Building is very nice. The architecture is cool. Let me turn again. This fountain here, I like, with the different kind of almost mosaic patterns, and then also just embellishing the holes a little bit. So this is something that I think I always get reminded of Kumba with his crazy miniature golf courses, but done well on both of these, where there's some added stuff to it to add some more interest to the actual holes. So let's cross the bridge. So we have this bridge here. Let's go back out to normal zoom level. And we'll go over to this side, which is this fantastic white palace. Very, very pretty. So we've got this corkscrew coaster here, which has a pretty cool start to it. So we've got this little helix out into a dive and a dive loop, or I guess a reverse sidewinder here right before we get into the lift hill itself. Pretty nice layout, simple, not super realistic, but flows well enough throughout, and a little lift hill back into the station itself, just super grand as far as that goes. And again, very neat to see the monochrome color just used super well with a bunch of different kind of textures to get that overall look. Very detailed, but still readable, which is always a good thing. We got these great little palace, or I guess gazebos here out in the water, and the lily pads and everything. So cool landscaping throughout. I love the queue going around. Actually, it looks like this is not the queue. There's just a bunch of people stuck in this statue here right around the helix, so framed really well for that whole space. So okay, the exit will drop into this space right here, and a cool waterfall on that side. All right, so over here we get into sort of the village itself, more of these little bizarre huts and different kind of buildings. I love the blue. The blue really makes it stand out across the whole thing. Using that custom swing ship from earlier in the matches, and a nice drop tower here as well with a custom top on it. Very cool archways here with the very Arabic Indian type archways, which is very cool. Let's spin around and have a look at the coaster, which is just picking up again after getting stopped by block break. So this is a pretty spectacular flying coaster here. This one's got a lot of cool stuff with to look at. A little bit of a glitchy turn right here, but hidden well. Certainly keeps it in scale. We'll spin around to this side and see this roll here down into this pretty hefty Cobra roll of sorts. Again, not the most realistic coaster wise, but it flows really well and looks really good. Supports look great, so can't fault it there. Great interaction here with the buildings itself. Another roll here and this sort of double helix combo thing at the end to wrap up the whole space. So very cool coaster. Here's another little temple here with the minarets on the side and the big dome in the middle. A lot of diagonal stairs, diagonal bits and pieces here, some pretty subtle half diagonals throughout the space, and just regular diagonals. But let's get to the actual palace here, which has this great approach with the staircase all the way up, all these little turrets and curved bits out here, kind of raising its way up. Very subtle half diagonals, like we said. Again, very monochrome. This one we have at least a couple of colors with the reds and the browns and that sort of thing, and the yellow accents on top, but Beautiful, beautiful castle here, or fortress, I suppose. Um, Kind of has that Alhambra feel to me a little bit, with a lot of these gardens and other things here raised up high. On the backside here, we've got this cool elevator with the mechanisms and everything in and around it, um, and a walkway that kind of continues all the way around, more kind of dried up riverbed down here and everything. And then we have this pretty spectacularly long ride. So this is the Tale of Dolabhati, and it uses the Cheshire Cat cars, which something you don't see very often. So points for that, absolutely. But this is a heck of a long ride. This is a what is that? 5 minutes 8 seconds through the whole thing. But you can see it kind of cruising all around here, and it works its way up into the building itself. If we hide some scenery, we can see the spiral up to the top as we go through the whole space here. And there's this pretty crazy point here in the middle where the whole thing kind of drops off the side and down into this kind of pit here at the end. I don't know if this is meant to be kind of from a string down or more just a fantasy, driving off the edge and falling down into this kind of hole at the end, but it's pretty cool. It's definitely an uh, added sort of interest piece on that type of a ride. I think what I like about it is just how expansive it is. Like, you can see there's parts and pieces over here, something over here too. It kind of wraps around here. None of it feels terribly dense, which I kind of like, but it all just works its way around the different spaces, comes out at different levels, and the architecture and the ride all sorts of works around the different levels through the space. Same in the fact of how the coaster comes through this section here and then through this section up here. Kind of reminds me of like Black Mamba at Fantasia Land. But a really cool map, really cool detailed architecture. Andrew certainly coming in strong here as a replacement for RCT fan, I believe it was. But very cool, and Serial Killers did take home the victory here, 39-8. So the Scream Queens are on the bubble, and what will determine whether they go through or not is how our team, Logan's Run, competed in the final match, which is the next one up. So join us next time as we go through round 7 match number 3, the final matchup in round robin play before the finals. So as always, thank you very much for watching, and we will catch you in the next one. Bye now.